Welcome back to the Customer Disservice Podcast, where today we have a special guest, Tasha, Julie's mom.
Hi.
It's my mom.
She's been working a lot longer than all of us, so she has plenty of stories and plenty of experiences that I'm pretty sure she could talk for a couple years.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, what positions have you held?
I've been server, cashier, delivery driver, shift manager, assistant manager, general manager, food runner, just pretty much anything that you can think of in customer service.
Anything food service, she's done it.
Mm-hmm.
You were GM for what, like 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
A long time.
It is. It's pretty long. It's a lot longer than most people can last,
Yeah.
especially in our area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about a couple things, as you do on a podcast. First, a little bit, we talk about being short-staffed and how it can confuse and also be very inconveniencing to not only the people who are working behind the counter, but more so to the customers. But it really matters to us more, I think.
A lot more.
Because it affects us for the entire day. It only affects the customers for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, the 5 minutes that they're in the store.
Well, in the 10 minutes after that they're complaining. But once they get home, they're usually
But
pretty good.
when they're
Yeah,
out
they're
the
over
door,
it.
they leave and they're out the door. That's it.
But for me, I
Story's
go
over.
home and cry myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I did the job of 3 people while getting paid for.
So I can't
doing only
necessarily
one.
say that I've ever had much of time where we were like short-staffed, but I have been in a situation where this is like my first job at the Splishy Splash Park with the fish. We did have a situation where we were fucking packed, like super packed, and the show had just ended, and tons of people were coming in. They want ice cream and coffee. That's where I worked. I worked in an ice cream shop that also had a coffee shop attached to the same building. And we were just slam packed. There was so many people in that building, and it's a very small building. And they were coming through, so you would order at the counter first, and then you would pick up your order and then walk out. So you would come out. It's an L-shaped. So you come out to the registers where you get your spoons for your ice cream and you pay. I ran out of like change, but not like I ran out of bills. I was out of like singles, and then I was out of singles, and I was out of some coins as well. I couldn't. There's only 2 fucking cashiers, 2 of us, and I had line all the way around the corner. This motherfucker, this idiot of a manager, you want to know? He comes out from the back and does. You want to know what he does?
Nothing.
Goes back to the back.
Could you imagine it would be even less than that?
What did he do?
He comes out. So we have the back office. He comes out and he sees the giant fucking mess. And I'm trying to tell him I don't have any change. I'm trying to, I have customers in line waiting to pay, and I don't have any change. I can't break anything. People are getting fed up. There was one lady who just threw a bill on the counter and left. I couldn't do anything. I was powerless. He comes out, and all he's doing is directing people to walk where to go to the register.
Where to go to
He just
they
does
can't
this.
pay.
He just does that. He's like, over here. That's all he's doing. I had no fucking change to break stuff. I was like, what am I supposed to do in that situation? I was almost ready to just leave, to just walk to go to the bathroom and just sitting there. Let him fucking deal with it.
Good luck.
So what did you end up doing?
Working?
I walked away from my register to go tell him. I was like, I have no change. I can't break people's bills. You need to do something because I'm sitting here drowning.
Did
Right.
he get you more change?
It took forever, but yes.
Oh.
He finally went. He was like, I'm directing people. Like, motherfucker, you do your job.
At my first job,
Being a
sandwich
traffic instructor is not your job.
At my first job, the sandwich place, if I were to step off of front cash, even to go tell the manager I needed something, they'd be like, why aren't you on front cash? It's like, because you're not up there helping me and I need help. They're so annoying. I'm like, I can't do anything. I don't have any money.
I cannot relate. I would not have stayed there very long if I had that as a manager.
It was so annoying. It was only a couple of the managers because the main manager, I loved him. But some of the other managers, they just sat in the office and didn't do anything if they even showed up for work.
I think the worst thing is like when I was like an experience for being short staffed was at the sandwich place I worked at. That the general manager.
Sandwich place or bagel place?
Bagel place. The general manager, it was like her day off, and like 2 people called out, so it was just me and 2 other people working the whole day, and she didn't come.
Was
in
I there for
because-
this?
I don't
Was
know.
I there for
Honestly, I
this?
don't remember.
Was your general
And-
manager ever there, though?
No.
Let's be
No.
honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Let's
The
be
answer, the
honest.
answer to that
But-
is no, not really.
No.
But it was just the 3 of us for the rest of the day, and the other person was a baker, and because it was her day off, she didn't come in.
You told her that people called out?
Yeah, and she didn't come in.
Must be nice.
And I was like, "Isn't that the general manager's job?
I was-
Part
cover
of her
and,
job.
like take over and watch
Yeah,
over your
even
fucking
if-
store.
You know what?
that
I feel
you
like I
are in charge
remember
of.
this because I was the assistant and I was like, Austin, why didn't you call me? And you're like, because it's not your store, it's hers.
Yeah,
I remember
Exactly.
yeah, because
Exactly.
it's her store. It's like her
that.
job.
I don't know. I might not have been the assistant yet. I feel like I might have been only a shift.
I don't know, but that was the day I should have fucking walked out.
There are a lot of days at that
would've-
job I should have
would've-
walked
that
out.
would've- That would have fucking. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, leading into the general manager at that store, she did not know how to put a schedule together. She would schedule people only knowing front cash for the whole day. We didn't have anybody that knew how to do line. And then other days she would do the exact opposite. And other days she would schedule all managers, and our labor would be like out the ass high. And then other days she would schedule like one manager for the whole day. And it's like,
Yeah, and
What are you
also
doing?
with her, though, she would, the times that she was there, she would only schedule people for when she was there.
yeah, she would schedule the best people for when she was working, and only that.
So she wouldn't have to do shit.
And
Yeah.
another thing she was really good at was disappearing for like
3
5
hours.
hours,
Yeah.
4 or 5
She's
hours.
like, I'm going to go run to the
remember.
bank. And then I didn't see her again till close.
I remember when I started there.
disappeared, gone.
I remember when I started there. I started noticing that, and I was like, and I would ask people like, I was like, how far away is the store or the bank? Where's our bank at?
5
and they're
minutes
like,
down the road.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes away. And I was like, so why does it take her 2 hours to get there? And
Good
like
question.
one day, she had sent me to go to the bank, and
You're done in fucking
Um,
15 minutes.
the woman that was there for like a long time, the boss line person.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
The shift lead that ran
Yeah,
the line.
yeah. So one day, like, I had gone to the bank, and I was trying to like rush back, and I was only gone like 20 minutes, and then she was on the line, looks back and sees me coming in. She's like, "You're back already?"
She did the same thing to me when I came
And I
back.
was
And I'm
like-
like, yeah, I'm so sorry I was gone so long. And she was like, Bestie, you're good.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it wasn't that far. What are you talking about?" And then she started to tell me like, "Well, I mean, it takes her like so long." I'm like,
No, yeah, I had a whole
"It
conversation
doesn't,
with
though."
her
Yeah.
on the line one day,
Yeah.
and I was like, if you did everything in like 15-20 minutes, and you had that whole 3-hour block that they give you for some reason,
They
you could
don't give
literally-
that to you. She just dips and then fixes her time.
Yeah,
Well,
they
whatever.
don't give that to you.
Oh,
It's
I
not
work
even
for
supposed to.
said place as the GM.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't.
not even
It's not
supposed to be the
enough 3
GM
hours?
that does that. The GM's supposed to be the one in the store.
Yeah,
Right.
GM
Should've
is
been a
not.
shift
shift lead, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, she
GM
should
is
never
not
have to
supposed
leave.
to leave the store.
She would leave to take her daughter to school.
Every
She would
fucking
leave
day.
To go
take-
pick her daughter
to
up
pick her
from
daughter
school.
up from school. She would leave to go to the bank, to go to get produce from other stores, to go to a store to buy produce because we were out of everywhere. And she would be gone for hours at a time.
I mean, I guess I can understand a little bit of it as like she was a single mom, right?
No.
No,
Oh,
She kind of was, because for the first part of their relationship, her now
Baby daddy.
husband wasn't helping, and her baby daddy wasn't really in the picture.
I mean, like,
And
I don't.
when he was in the picture, he was a deadbeat. Like, he didn't help.
yeah,
at all.
I didn't really like
All right,
really hate
we're,
them.
we're,
Like,
Going off
we're
topic.
trailing off just a little bit.
Anyways.
I just-
yeah,
But when
we
when we
just had a
don't
bad
have-
GM that we all like to shit on.
when we don't have those people in the store, it is so frustrating to the people that are left, because it's like, now I have to pick up your slack, and it's not my place to do that.
there was one time where I was the one running the entire store.
What?
Nobody was there. Nobody was there. I don't know. You guys, obviously you weren't there for that, but
Mhm.
there was one time where GM, she's gone. She opened and then dipped. We had
At least she opened.
a shift lead. I don't remember who opened that day, but for a good like 20 minutes or something like that, I was like literally the only person in that store.
With the baker?
The baker, I think, was in the back.
Mm.
And
That is ridiculous. And it's like
and I was not a manager either. I wasn't a shift lead. I wasn't an assistant. I was just some dude.
when you don't schedule enough people to be there to run your shift, you can't get mad at the shift that showed up if something goes wrong.
Yeah, but and then on top of that, though, like, because we're talking about the customers usually for this, they don't see the behind the scenes and how stressed that you guys are.
No, that's like what I said earlier, where their issue that comes up from any problems that happen that day, that only lasts like 5 minutes for them.
Mm-hmm.
They walk out the door, it's over.
Yep.
Yeah, for us it lasts
They forget
all
about it.
day.
We deal with it the entire day for hours. And it's
And
all
every
day.
day.
And it
And
leads
every day.
to so much stress on us that we don't get paid enough for, like, at all.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was barely a shift. I barely knew what I was doing because I was brand new at it. And the GM didn't show up, so the assistant was doing inventory and everything for the day. And we had all new people. We had a brand new cashier, brand new person on drive, and a brand new person on line. And that was it. And me, and I was running line, and I wasn't good at line to begin with. And everyone was asking me questions. I was taking orders for in-store and on drive, and it was just so much that I literally had a mental breakdown. I'd like screamed and threw my headset off and then went in the back and sat on the floor and cried for a good like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then I came back out with tears still streaming down my face, and I was like, how can I help you?
Yep. Yep.
So bad.
Try walking into the cooler and just punching boxes of cheese because you cannot punch.
Punch the cheese.
You can't punch the customer.
I punched the bagel boxes because I was mad at our GM because like she was really messing my stuff up with baking because like I told her to tell like everybody up front to like let me know what's running low because I'm back there. It's like and I'm baking. I can't run back and forth to see like what sells all the time. Like I gotta make it. Like I can't see it. And like I went over this a bunch of times with her and it just kept happening. So like one day I got so frustrated with it happening. It was like on a Monday and so I went in the freezer.
Ooh,
I just
on a
punched
Monday?
the boxes. I was like so mad at
Well, I can honestly say, though, if you speak to any baker at said bagel place, they felt the same.
yeah.
They definitely
That's
felt
so
the same.
That I like when I transferred to that store here, like before I loved baking. Like I loved it. Then I started baking for her. I hated it.
Yeah. So, I mean, a management team can definitely make or break a restaurant. So,
Yeah, exactly. And when the employees are getting frustrated like that because management isn't scheduling right or they're not being there for the team when the schedule goes wrong, like if somebody calls out, the customers, like, they're going to be affected by that too. And
They
then they're
feel
not going
it.
to want to come back because when we're stressed, it's hard to hide how stressed you are in that kind of environment. It's hard to do it with a smile on your face when it's been all day back to back and customers are being absolute dickheads to you.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't understand why it's taking so long. And they're like, you don't understand that we've been short staffed all day and we're 8 orders behind. Like,
well, their mentality is that's not their problem.
and they're right, it's not. But at the same time, like, you have to be compassionate when
Yes.
you go into a place like that. Like, you can't go in somewhere and see that there's only one person working. There's a line wrapped around the building. There's a line out the door inside, and then be like, why is it taking you so long?
And
I'm
you can
late to
visibly,
work.
You can visibly see.
Like, I don't care that you're late to work.
You saw the
Yeah.
line when
And
you
you
got
decided
in
to come
line.
in there.
decided to come. But you can also see like the visual and facial cues of the 1 or 2 people who are behind the counter, like
Holding
struggling.
back the tears.
Like the way that they're moving, how fast they're doing stuff, like the struggle in their face, the struggle in their body, like body language.
Yeah, it's not like they're just being slow just because they can. It's because they don't have the people that they need.
Yeah, not everybody can have.
And mind
8
you,
arms.
this was before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not like the workers were just quitting like now.
Yeah.
They just weren't being scheduled for the company to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said that a company that has to make money off of the sweat off of their employees' backs is a horrible company. Look at they've got look at
fine.
look at the chicken place.
Yeah.
They have 1 million employees at all times, and they're happy, and their sales are through the roof. And I tried to bring this to one of my area managers' attention. Like, look at how many employees that they have, how happy their employees are. and see how successful they are. And they're
But-
like, oh, but we don't make as much money as they do. But we would.
if we had the people.
Yeah. So not only are you, and this is good that I have a management experience because bringing this to the table, because how much money you spend on training people, it's a lot. It's at least $1,500 a person. Okay.
And then
So-
keeping them on payroll.
Right. So if they're quitting because they're unhappy, you're wasting all of that money on training rather than keeping your employees happy.
And they're
And
not going
just
to be happy if they're doing the work of 3
That'll
different people.
affect
exactly.
sales.
And
Exactly.
if people come into a place where the workers aren't happy, they're not going to want to come back.
Like with that bagel shop, like all that new stuff they brought all the time. Not a single employee would ever try to promote it.
No.
They just
Because
like,
they don't
oh,
care.
new item.
They don't
Like,
care.
yeah, there's no like motivation for anything because they don't get paid enough.
There's
and
yeah,
they
there's
don't
no
get
there's
treated
no
right
there's no
enough.
incentive
Yeah.
to boost sales, because even if we did boost sales,
We don't get anything out of it.
there's no kickback. It's not going to change, how much we get paid. It's not going to change anything. It's
The-
going to put more money in
The
the
GMs,
DM's pockets.
Yeah, the
not,
GMs
like
and
barely
the-
even the GMs, but the DM.
well, the GM gets a fat bonus, especially
Yeah.
at that bagel place. But
Oh, yeah. I made bank of my bonus.
But one thing that our GM didn't do that my mom did when she was there is every time she would get a bonus, you would do something for your employees. You would get them all new jackets. You would throw them like a real party.
Oh,
you
no, we
would
never
do
saw
things
that
with
shit.
them.
We had, like,
Every
one-
time got a bonus, you know what she did?
Nothing.
Bought stuff for herself.
Did she even tell you guys that she bonused?
She told me
She
because
told-
I was her assistant.
She told me once.
I had a GM
Julie?
one time.
The name.
Oh, you said
no.
the name of the GM.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
My bad.
You said something that did.
Yeah. It was
Oh.
really quick, but I caught it. It's
Sorry, I
Again,
didn't
it doesn't
catch
matter. We get to
You
hear
would've
the
caught it
springy
in
sound.
post anyways.
You hear the porn.
I had a GM one time who lied to us and told us that she never made bonus and made us feel bad. Like we weren't doing
know.
enough for her.
Right.
That is so,
So-
messed
that
up.
you weren't working hard
That
enough.
is
But
and
then
you-
I
messed
later
up.
become GM and knew how to read the P&L, and I'm like, that liar. She got so much bonus off of us.
So told me she bonus
Hey.
one time. I mean, the GM. I'm so sorry. She told me she bonused. She told me she bonused one time, and she told me how much, and I was like, oh my goodness. All of the employees have been asking for new jackets. We should get them jackets
No.
that are embroidered with the name of the company. And she was like, where's that money going to come from? I'm like, your bonus that you
Yeah.
got because of them. And she was like, no, I worked for that bonus. You
They
wouldn't.
worked for
You
your
wouldn't have gotten
bonus.
that bonus if they didn't do the stuff that they were supposed to do, which, by the way, you didn't even get them to do that. I did.
Yeah. Nope. I always like to buy my employees like jerseys when I worked at the pizza place. I did jerseys with their names embroidered on it, or in the back where the number goes, I would put their name on it. So I mean, it's all about
That'd be pretty
treating
cool. That
your
would've been
people
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have worn it, but it'd be cool.
They
So-
wear theirs on Friday because it was a pizza place.
I don't know if
Right.
you weren't here for it. You were working at the time, but the district.
the sandwich shop.
Oh shit! Did I say?
This whole
There's a lot of springs
episode.
going off there for some reason.
Anyway,
It's so weird.
when you worked
Where's that
at
noise? I
the
don't know.
other place,
Yeah.
it was a while after the district manager of the area of Orlando got our store, like everybody, a jacket. And so the GM tried to make it sound like, she told me, it was like, yeah, I got you guys jackets. And then when he came to visit the store next, he was like, hey, so how'd you guys like the jackets I got you? And I was like, oh, really?
Not
I think-
surprising.
I think we've gotten a little off topic here. We were talking about scheduling
Now we're talking about jackets.
jackets.
That's okay.
Well,
That's
it's
what
just
we're
fine,
here
it's
for.
It's just because we were talking
It
about
doesn't even
that.
matter.
You guys brought it up.
Content
it
is
reminded
content.
me
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
that.
true.
Fuck.
I was
Doesn't matter,
like,
dude.
wow.
So let's see. How
Rain.
about yeah?
Every time it rains, somebody's going to call out because they don't feel comfortable driving in that weather, or it's
They
flooded
don't
and
drive?
they can't drive, or they don't drive, can't get a ride, the buses are closed, whatever the case may be. We're going to be short-staffed when there's crappy weather, and customers will come in still
angry
pouring
through the
fucking
pouring
rain.
rain. They barely made it
one
into the
thing I
parking
hated-
lot, and they're like, "Why don't you have any employees?"
Was when it was fucking pissing pouring rain, and then people would come to the drive-through, like
And not turn their windshields off?
No, not even that.
I hated that.
I can't even hear you. All I hear is the whole fucking time because it's fucking raining and windy outside. Why are you in the
pull up
drive-through?
to the window?
I would take their orders at the window, but then I wouldn't open the window until they turned their windshield wipers off.
Yeah, some people wouldn't do that, and like I wouldn't open the window. I would spite them. I wouldn't open the window all the way. I would be like,
You're like, "Can you turn your windshield wiper off, please?"
And then close
turn
it
your
really
windshield
quick.
wiper.
yeah.
Turn it off.
I know for like with the pizza place, when it would be raining or hurricaning or whatever, the customers were very
Still
inconsiderate.
wanting
Very
you to go deliver
inconsiderate.
pizza.
Because we would quote actual time, because it's not good
Yeah.
business to lie and just say 30 minutes, even if it's an hour. So we would quote actual time, and sometimes it would be like an hour, and they're like, well, why? Have you looked outside?
So at the cleaning place that we currently work at, we service for all over our specific franchise. We have a location in Nashville, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but in the last couple months they had blizzards out there, and we
I have
closed
been
down.
hearing some stuff about like them getting
They've had-
snowed on, and
yeah,
like,
they were snowed
but, like,
in.
yeah.
So we closed down. The only people that were out running was the manager and their main water X guy for emergency situations only, and they were working out of their own personal vehicles, not even our company vehicles. They got the portables in their trucks, and they were working out of the trucks, their own personal trucks, because they had snow tires. So people were calling in, being like, well, first of all, the day before we called and canceled all their appointments, and we're like, we would love to get you rescheduled, just call us back at blah, 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 blah. And then people would call in and be like, I got a voicemail that you guys were canceling my appointment. You can't just cancel my appointment without my consent. Like, have you looked out your window?
Actually,
How are we supposed to get to you?
yeah, we can.
How are we supposed to get to you?
Can you open your
And
front
then there
door
are
all the
people
way?
calling and be like, are you guys working today? It's like, well, we're working on emergency case basis. And they're like, oh, yeah, I have a huge emergency. My family's coming over. My carpets look disgusting. And I'm like, no.
That's not an emergency.
Is your house flooded? No? Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're not coming.
Well, you should take better care of your stuff.
Put
So-
a little throw rug down, and you'll be all right.
So speaking of, are you guys open today? How about, have you ever worked for a place that you were closed on a holiday, and the day before the people were calling and like all day? Are you guys going to be open tomorrow? And you're like, no, we're actually closed.
And they're like, why?
Yeah, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do about my bagels? Or
Come get it today.
Go literally anywhere else.
yeah.
Go
Like,
literally anywhere else.
It's not a
Do
hard
you
thing.
like spending time with your family? Because I would like to spend time with mine. So, but yeah.
So
It's
if they
so
don't get
hard.
their bagels, then they're
Irate.
angry and hungry.
And then
they're hangry.
Hangry.
angry. And that was such a build-up.
That was stupid.
And they get so angry that they will scream in your face and call you every name under the book. Like,
Try having a bagel thrown in your face.
Didn't have that.
I'm so glad I've never had food thrown at me.
I've had soda thrown at me.
I'm so glad. I would have snapped. I feel like I would have immediately gone to jail.
So I literally had a guy grab me by my arm and just start screaming in my face. And this was my young throwdown days. This was
yeah.
not my...
Before you had kids when you
Yes.
were crazy.
Yes. This was not my very mature mother days.
Yeah.
And so literally my shift manager saw it happen. And as I was turning around to scrap with this guy, my shift manager come in between us and just drug me outside. So, like, I mean, you don't know who you're messing with.
You don't know how people are going to react. So when I was a manager at the bagel place, we had some fiery people work for us.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I was doing something. I can't remember what I was doing, but my back was turned toward the lobby. And all of a sudden I hear people like getting loud with each other. And I had a customer walking behind the line, like in, like ready. And then my employee was like walking up in front of them. And I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you need to get back. You cannot be behind this line. You need to get back. And he was like, no, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you need to get back right now or I will make you get back.
Yep.
And he looked at me and I looked at him.
And
And
he
then-
looked at me. And
I looked at
him.
And then he started backing up, but he was still yelling at her. I'm like, you need to get out of my store right now. You need to leave. And he was like, oh, I want my money back. I'm like, you can call corporate for your money back. You need to get out.
Yeah, that happened. Okay, so one day I'm in the back and I hear screaming out front. And I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? So I walk around there. I've got 2 brand new kids.
Oh, God,
And
it's
I'm
always the
talking,
kids.
they're kids, like 16 years old, never worked before, like day 5. Okay. And there's this Karen out there screaming at them because apparently one of them handed out the wrong order. Okay. So I come out and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, your fucking idiot employees handed out the wrong order. I'm like, well, I do apologize that my minor children handed out the wrong order, but you should not be talking to them that way. And the lady's like, well, fine, I'll talk to you that way. You're a fucking idiot, and the place that you're running is stupid. Well, my little mini me, who was 17 but has been with since that place, the pizza place, the pizza place, since
pizza
she
place.
had just turned 16 and can work. She come flying around the corner and she's like, you don't talk to my mom that way. And the lady's like, what are you going to do? And she's like, you give me 2 seconds to come around this counter and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So as she's trying to open the door, the lady took off and went to go run out the door. But we had 2 doors. One was open and one was locked. And she ran face first into the door. It was great. I had to call
Was
my
that on
boss.
video?
Yes, it was on
Oh,
video.
man.
Oh, man.
I had to call my boss and was like, I might get fired. Just so you know.
This is what
But-
happened.
Man, that's perfect. Like instant karma.
Yeah,
Literally.
it
Perfect.
is. It is.
People act so crazy when it comes to customer service when they don't get their way that they act like a different version of themselves.
Yeah.
Like they would never act like that in front of their boss, in front of their kids, in front of their family.
Well,
Church.
Church.
probably.
Probably, yeah. We don't know.
Maybe.
But like
I mean,
in most
probably
situations,
behind closed doors they act that way, but in
No.
front of people who will judge them,
and who they have to see on a regular basis,
they would never act that
they
way.
would never act that way. And it's absolutely insane to me how like that much anger can come out of one person over something so little.
Yeah. Something
And-
so small.
Something so small, and then it's like a sliver of not only your entire life, but a sliver of like your day.
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole issue has you boiled over to the point where you're screaming and throwing a fit like a little baby who didn't get any milk in the morning
Literally.
for
Sorry I ruined this last 5 minutes for you, but I might go quit my job now
And not be able to support my children.
because being here is absolute hell.
Like
Yep.
that guy who screamed in your face at your sandwich job.
Oh, yeah, but he wasn't really a customer though. He was
Oh.
just some guy having a mental
Oh.
breakdown.
like
I-
sure your issues can be like I don't know what's going on at your place of work. I don't know what's going on in your
I mean,
your
perception
house.
is reality,
Yeah.
you know? So, and that's something that I was always brainwashed in, as far as being a manager, is that perception's reality. So whatever they're perceiving is actually what's going on. But no, ma'am. Mm-mm. No, you don't have a right to
You
treat
don't
us
have
No,
plain
yeah, no,
bagels
you don't.
just to spite me. Ma'am,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were coming in today. How would I know?
Well, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I've never seen you
Well,
before.
how
I don't know
about-
who you are.
I was told, you just ruined my wife's birthday.
I didn't know it was her birthday.
over
Nor do
A
I
bagel.
Really care.
over some bagels, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that you are a cheap ass and you took your wife to this bagel place.
If a
but
bagel is all it takes to ruin your wife's birthday, then
She's having
There's
You
a
must
shitty
have
little
you
bit
must-
more to it.
you guys must live a really fucking miserable, sad, fucking shitty life, man.
Literally.
If that's all it takes.
Or they're so perfect that one inconvenience just ruins
That's
the whole
that's
day.
another thing too.
Mm-hmm.
But
And then they come in demanding a refund for things that they don't even have a right to get a refund for.
yeah,
Like I had somebody eat at the sandwich shop that I worked at, their entire meal, and then came up and was like, "I didn't like it. I need a refund." I'm like, "Sure, bring me the food back, and I can give you a refund." And they're like, "No, I ate it."
Oh.
And I'm like, "You hated all of it, but you ate all of it."
yep, same thing.
You,
Same
you
thing.
just hated every single bite,
You're
but
like,
you
"Man,
just
this
kept
is
going.
bullshit."
You just kept fucking.
Same thing at the
Kept fucking
pizza
going.
place. They would call and they're like, "Well, I asked for there to not be any sausage on my pizza."
But I ate it all.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you would like to bring the pizza back, you know, I'll be happy to give you a refund or make you a new one." It's all gone. We ate it all.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh, okay. Well, next time, let us know beforehand.
Yeah.
What do you
Or-
want a refund for then?
Or they
The box.
call you like
Right?
Crumbs.
7 days later.
Oh, I hate that. We had somebody at the cleaning place we work at call in 2 years later wanting a refund because the protection that we offer didn't keep her carpets cleaned when they're wear dated.
It lasts
Wow.
1 year, first of all.
It lasts 6 months to a year depending on the traffic in your home.
Yeah.
And she called back 2 years later and she's like, my carpets are dirty. And I'm like, great, we can send somebody out to clean. And she was like, no, I had you guys out 2 years ago. I don't want you out again. I want a refund.
No.
No.
No, ma'am.
And I am not a manager where I work. I'm just a CSA. Like, I'm just an agent. And I was like, our manager would love to reach back out to you about this one.
Yeah.
I love my favorite thing since not being a manager is passing the buck on to my manager because I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yep.
It's not my problem.
Where I currently work, we are not allowed to do that.
You have to take the whole brunt
You
of
have to
everything.
take the brunt of everything. And if you have to send a call to a manager, you have to do a document, and that's pretty much your write-up for having to send a call to a manager.
Not us. They encourage us to send the calls because they don't want us to handle it the wrong way.
Nope.
Yeah.
They don't care how we handle it as long as we don't send it to a manager. I'm like,
So then what do
So
the
what does
managers
a
do all
manager
day?
do?
that's what I want to know.
What are they doing
I
all
asked her
day?
the same question when she told me that. I'm like, why do you have managers if you're not allowed to utilize your managers?
That's what I would like
You're
to
not
know.
supposed to call
But
them for questions. You're not supposed to nothing.
you can consult for questions, but they do not want to talk to the customer.
Right.
Neither do I.
That
Yeah.
must be nice.
Right, exactly.
Like, what are you doing? Can I do it?
Mama gets to play pretend manager at her job.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. For like the last 2 weeks, I've been a pretend
So you
manager.
don't have to talk to the customer.
No.
Shit.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
I am
pretty good.
available for all questions from the other agents. And I
She's
do.
like the newest
So
agent,
what do you do?
by the way.
Oh.
and I
Okay,
am
then.
the newest agent. I am on the phone with agents that have
Oh.
questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they'll be like, I can't find this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, so share your screen. See that? This is where it is. This is how you do it all day long, which I would rather do that than.
I would rather
Deal
do
with
that.
Customers.
Yes.
You're the
I
customer
hate-
service for the customer service rep.
Yes. Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
I hate customers, and my whole job is customer service based because it's so hard to get into anything
How
else.
did we do that, though? I hate people, and I have been working with people my whole life.
I know. I hate it, and I am so glad I got out of food. First of all, because
Oh.
I
Oh yeah, no, that was
Yes.
yeah,
after
that was so
working
relieving.
after working in the call center where I work, I could not, will never ever go back to food unless I'm like on my last dime about to be homeless. That's the only situation I'll
Yeah,
ever
that's
go
like
back
a
to food.
quick job or something.
Because I could always get a job in food. I have enough experience, and it's the easiest field to get into, and that's why so many people get stuck in it. Because once you're in it,
It's the
you're in it.
easiest to get into, the hardest to get out, because depending on what position you're in, you can make good money, but you get abused so bad by
That's why you kept
management,
going back to the pizza
by
place.
other employees, and by customers. But the money sometimes like traps you.
Yeah, because like
So-
you can't make more elsewhere.
The people at the
And you
at the
become
fishy
reliant
place
on that money.
at the fishy park, I know they didn't like me very much because it was
Who,
like
the
it was
management?
like no any like everybody. It was like my first. It was my first job, so a lot of the shit I was still feeling out, and I
And-
even had like, I think it was an evaluation one day, where I went to the office and talked to one of the like managers. This lady's in charge of like 2 buildings, and then I think she's like one of the managers. She's in charge of like 2 buildings. It was a weird way they had like a hierarchy. But yeah, she was just we were having a nice conversation. It was fine. It wasn't anything bad. But she was like, yeah, some people feel like you don't really do anything. And I was like, interesting. Half of the
Interesting
time,
reaction.
it's kind of because half the time nobody's telling me or asking me to do anything. So like, if I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing, how am I gonna know what I'm supposed to do?
That's another thing when it comes to like management and stuff is that they don't take the time to train the people that they're hiring and throw them in, and then everybody else has to deal with it because the manager goes and sits in the office.
Yep. That's an awful. That's awful for the employees. I feel bad for employees.
For the
that have
longest
that.
time, me and Nick did not get along because I didn't have the time to train him because it wasn't my job to train him. It was our manager's. And she threw him out in the bushes, and I would look over, and he was just standing there all the time. But it's because he didn't know what to do, and I didn't have time to go over there and be like, "This is what you do."
nobody would ask me.
Because we were slammed all the time, and when we weren't slammed, it was time for pre-closing. So I'm like, Nick, go grab a broom. grab a washcloth, start cleaning
And
something.
I was getting frustrated
So
too.
that's all he would do is just clean, and like he didn't know how to like restock anything. He didn't know where anything was because our manager didn't show him anything.
Now,
Did
That's
she
what
even do like
happened
a
with
tour
all
with
the
you?
new
Did she show you where
employees.
anything was?
Not
Yeah,
really,
I didn't
no.
think so.
to be
I
fair,
was so
For that
frustrated.
place, though, that is part of the new hire experience. Is
just being
to
dropped in the middle of the war zone.
yeah, and it's,
be fair,
it's awful. Sink or swim.
Sucks.
Sort
That's
of.
how I
Yeah,
trained
exactly.
too.
To be somewhat fair, I could have asked,
But
but
why
everybody's
should
fucking
you?
busy.
But
it
why
would be
should
more
you have to
frustrating
ask?
if I'm in the middle of 80,000
No, that's what I'm saying.
things
Everybody's
and you're
fucking
like,
busy. I have to
Julie,
go
what do I do?
out of my way to stop everything that you are doing to be like, I don't know what am I supposed to be doing here? Nobody told you how to do that? No, nobody said anything to me. They
come
were
in-
like, here's the bagels. All right, have fun.
Come in just as frantic as them and be like, what do I do? What do you need me to do? What can I do to help? And then they'll be like, do this, and you're like, okay.
No, I feel like that make it worse.
No, it actually
helps.
It helps.
If I see you cool, calm, and collected while I'm freaking out, I'm gonna be mad. But if you're also freaking out and we're in the chaos together, then I'll be like, all right, here's what you
I
can
can't
do.
do that. I can't do that. I don't have the energy for that. You're never gonna catch me freaking out like visually and being like, "Oh my god, I need to."
That's like what I always did
Never.
when I was there. When it was like super crazy, I'd be like, all right. I just like look for like the source of where it's all coming from. I'm like, I'm gonna go right there.
You gotta
and
find the
fix
bottleneck.
it.
That's called
Which
the
is-
bottleneck.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is what our manager was very bad at.
she would run from the bottleneck.
She would go
Our-
further to the back of the bottle.
Our bottleneck would be, for example, line,
Yeah.
right? And she would be in the back, and we'd be like, "Ma'am, come out here and help us. We need you. We're drowning." And she would come and put herself on drive, and kick the person on drive who only knows
To
how to
eggs.
do drive off of it onto
eggs.
eggs, which we have plenty of. We don't need those.
and then it made the matter worse, and she would start yelling at everybody else. And
The
Yeah,
issue-
and
the
she
issue-
would be like telling us how to
And,
do our
like,
jobs when we need her
and
to
pull
do this
like
one thing that
3
she's
cars
not doing.
forward.
The issue I had, to be honest with you, is I felt like the line was too small.
The line was pretty small.
It was just too small for how much shit that we would have to try and chug out.
Really? You guys thought it was too small?
Yeah.
No, not like the size of it, just like not the inventory, the size and length.
Mm-hmm.
If it was longer or bigger, we could have more hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to get a third person on that line was awful.
There's not enough space
The third person online was doing expo when they could have been helping build sandwiches.
because you can knock out like 2 or 3 sandwiches at all at the same.
If
you can
there's
build at
nothing
the
to
same
expo,
time.
you're just standing there.
I
Yeah.
guess I can see it. I mean, it really depends on the people you have to line, though. That's
No, but
the
I'm
way
saying
I
you
see
get the good
And she
people
would never
online,
deploy
like-
people in the right spots. She would okay. So she would do the schedule and then wouldn't do the deployment. She would just put people on the schedule, and then I would always go through and be like, line, drive, cash, because I need to know where people are when I'm coming in.
She
and
didn't
out.
color code her
God forbid
schedule.
you
She
fucking
didn't
change
do
it.
anything with the schedule other than put people on it.
God fucking
And then
forbid
I
you
started
change
putting
it.
deployments on it where people are going, and then she started doing it like it was her idea, but she would put it in other places. Like she would put him on cash when he was best online, and you're supposed to have your aces in your places, right? He was our he was our best line person, and she would put him on cash, and she's like, he needs to get better. I'm like, not during rush, he doesn't. During rush, he needs to be in his place, which is line.
No, yeah. If,
I was also really good at cash too, but
But you
not
are-
in drive-through, but like
But you are our best line person.
I
is
you
the
know what's
thing.
so funny?
It doesn't make
Julie-
sense to have
Julie,
me
you-
online and you on cash during
Yeah.
our rush.
Yeah.
After rush, that's fine. We can switch. But during rush, no.
And Julie was there for Austin kind of too, but mainly Julie. You were there for when I first.
It's hot.
'cause I never did drive-through ever in my life, and I started doing drive-through, and I was like the worst ever.
Oh, it was so bad.
Me too. Don't worry, I hate
became
drive-through.
The best drive-through person in that entire
he was my
fucking
main
store.
guy for drive-through at some point.
Literally the best in that entire fucking store. I became the best.
Because he kept getting put there by our manager who didn't know how to put people where they needed to be. He was best order taking.
Dude, I color coded the schedule. So it was like bakers were green, cash was yellow, line person was
smart.
blue.
That is so
So
smart.
that way I could go through every day.
We would write it in the red book. So I'd go through on the day, and you know where like the breaks are. I would write their name, and next to their name, I would write what they're supposed
Well,
to
we
be
did
doing.
that on the daily, but for me to make my schedule, it was color coded so that I could see that I had the right amount of people.
Not her. And I asked her to take over the schedule because she was doing so bad at it. And she's like, it's supposed to be the GM's job.
it's
I'm like,
just-
no, it's actually not.
It's not.
everything that she did and the ways that she did it, it was just
This
it
whole
just
podcast
made
has
it
become
chaotic.
complaining about her.
It really
But
kind of
that's
has.
okay
She came
because
in, she came in not ready for work at all, completely unprepared, already
Hair in
chaotic.
disarray.
Like
She never had her hair up in the mornings,
it
and I'd
was
find
just
her hair all
from
throughout the store.
start of the day to the finish. It was just chaotic.
Chaos.
'Cause she made it that way because she's not ready for work at all. She's focused on something else.
Coming
but
into open for
like-
like 17 minutes and then just
She
immediately
opened the
leaves.
store
Dipping
in like
out.
17 minutes
Gone.
and then left as soon as the next person
see you
came
later.
in.
So
Sometimes she wouldn't even wait.
See, like, it's funny because I don't know her, but I do know that she babysat the store that I had once I got to a new store. And she was there for like a month or two. Everything plummeted. Sales plummeted. Like health inspections plummeted. Like, it was bad.
Every single health inspection that we had,
Should've-
she was never in the store. It was me and
We should
Austin.
have failed.
It was me and Austin making sure we passed. And the week that she was on vacation and I took over everything for her, everything was up. Sales were up, morale was up,
Breaks
Was
were
I there for
good.
that?
breaks were good. Yep. Breaks were good.
Labor was
Labor
good.
was
There's
good.
there's a lot of shit that I just
Inventory was
blocked out
better.
from
We
that
were
whole time.
Traumatic.
we were always short on cream cheese. Always. And when I did the inventory, we were still short on cream cheese because that's something that like you're always going to be
You're
short on.
always going to be short
But
on
it
cream
wasn't
cheese.
as bad. We were like double
Less
what we
short.
should have been. Yeah.
Well,
And the DM, when he was the new DM, he was doing weekly phone calls with everybody on Tuesdays and ask about their numbers and like walk through it with them. And I was telling him about the numbers and the surveys and everything like that and how many people missed their breaks and like all the normal questions he would ask every week. And he was like, "Wow, your numbers are doing really good. What did you do different?" And I'm like, "Nothing. She's just not here." And he was quiet
I
for a
said
minute
this
and went, "Oh."
I said it before, and I still pretty much stand by this statement. If you know who had left and Julie took over as GM, we probably would have been there for another like
I would have
few
still
months.
been there probably, but I couldn't work under her anymore. It was awful.
We would definitely have been there a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, maybe a couple more months, almost a year,
Yeah.
maybe.
I probably still, if I was able to take over that store, first of all,
Maybe not now, because
Maybe
let
not
me
now.
tell you something. They closed down one of the other, I'm not gonna say the city, but one of the other stores that's close by.
to us right here.
Yeah, they closed it down. So all the other customers and some of the employees shifted to the other one that we worked at,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a shit show now. It's worse. It's worse.
Well,
I would have stayed longer.
if
though,
it
I
makes
was-
you
I don't
feel
ever
better.
wanna go there again.
Yeah.
No, I'm
If
not
it
going
makes
back.
you feel better, though, all of that brand of stores, they're struggling in this area.
I'm not surprised.
They are struggling.
Probably
But
because
they're
of
always
the
busy
DM.
though.
It's all the DM.
He doesn't. I liked him better than the previous DM.
Yeah.
As like a personal standpoint, because I hated the previous DM.
Mm-hmm.
But the new one, I don't feel like he was prepared for it.
No. And
Just like I don't
he's-
feel like our GM was prepared for her. Race
No,
either.
she definitely was not. But with the new DM, he is very sexist. Very sexist.
Mm-hmm.
If you look, there's none of the previous female GMs that were there before. So he's got that.
And
on
most
him.
of them were female before.
Mhm.
And they
Almost all
ran
of
their
them.
shit.
Yeah. Almost all of them were female. So, but it is all going downhill for that company right now.
In this area only, or?
That's the only people that I know. I don't know other people in other areas. So.
And there's like, when the management isn't good, there's always going to be a rotating shift. There's always going to be high turnover, and there's always going to be new employees, always learning new things, but the same customers, and they get upset when they don't know. They're like,
Those
I'll have my
customers-
regular. It's like, this is my first day. I've never met you before.
That goes back to
What do you
the
want?
confusion,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then also the inconvenience. at the same time.
Inconvenience, yes, exactly. And those customers specifically, I remember when I would have a new employee, they would be like, "Can I get so and so to take my order? They know what I want."
It's like, no, you're gonna tell them what you want, and they're gonna put it in, and if they get it wrong, we'll correct them. But for right now, they need to learn. How else are they gonna learn?
Also,
They're not.
everybody else is like busy.
Yeah.
We're doing
Yeah.
stuff. We have other customers. You're not the sole
At this-
fucking. You know,
It's
At
not
you're
all
not.
about
You're not
you.
the only one who's in the building.
We
right now.
did that to them, though. Okay, we did that to our customers.
With the
for
customers
that.
always right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's something that was years in the making with the customer being always right. Luckily, it's going away from that, and I mean, because they're not always right.
Oh my god! I love that about my current job right now.
We don't think the customer's always right.
Oh my! It is actually amazing because it's kind of like with that,
And
that stuff went out the door. The customer is right because now I'm the one who's right because I know what I'm doing.
You're
I
the
got
expert.
trained to do it. I know what I'm talking about. You don't.
And if there's
You're the
ever a
expert.
dispute where it gets passed on to a manager, 9 times out of 10, I love their manager. He's not my manager because I work in the call center and they're on the field. But the field manager, I love him so much because he almost 9 times out of 10 takes the side of the employee.
Good.
I
As
love
it
him so
should
much
be.
for that.
And you know what's great about him too is he actually some days if we're short staff like
He'll
we were
go
talking
out on
about
the
earlier,
vans.
he'll go out in the van and clean too.
Yeah, he'll pick up a route.
As it should be.
So most of the time he does things like QCs. If something goes wrong and like somebody breaks something or something, he'll go out and assess that, or he'll do commercial estimates or whatever. That's what his day normally consists of. And then he comes back and does his paperwork and blah, 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 blah. On days that we're short staffed, it's happened like twice since I've worked there. We've been so short staffed that he couldn't do that. He would incorporate his regular route, his estimates and stuff like that, into another route and go out with a technician.
That's awesome. I can tell you I've probably, in my lifetime, have only had maybe 3 bosses that did that.
I always would put myself in the...
One
That's
of
kind of
my,
sad. It's only
one
3.
of
It should
my,
be like a higher
yeah,
number, you'd think.
one of my old bosses actually did such a
you?
great job.
What?
What?
Was that you? You're like,
I don't know.
Maybe.
It might have been.
if you're gonna look away, just
I don't even know what happened.
you're breathing. But it's funny. Go
Oh.
ahead. Sorry.
But-
I mean, I've been
Sorry.
hearing you guys breathe, but
But one of my old managers, like, he inspired me to be who I was. And I know we can't say his name, you know, but, like, I know that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been the manager that I was. And it's so sad that there's not many people like that.
A lot of what made me a good manager, not to toot my own horn, but you know, I was a pretty great manager, and a lot of what made me that is watching you growing up, being in the store with you while you're running your store and hearing the things that you say and stuff like that. I took that with me into work. And on top of that, my first manager when I first started working was a phenomenal manager. He was always
loved
willing.
him.
He would go back and do the dishes even if we needed it. Like, he would put himself in any position where he was needed, and he was always willing to like work with us instead of just supervising us. And like the combination of that, I think, made me who I was. But it's just like the abuse that I took from upper management and the customers all at once. Like, I couldn't take it, and I just like, I can't do this.
that's why I stopped being a manager.
But that's why there's not many good managers anymore.
Because it gets beaten out of them,
Yeah. And
and they leave the company.
they leave the company
in
and
the industry.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to find anyone with that drive that wants to do it.
No, there were so many people at my first job that took the role of supervisor a little too seriously
Yeah.
and just kind of fucked off to the back, or
I had a lot of managers like that.
they would just kind of like go to the bathroom, go to the other shop that was across the way, and maybe talk to that manager for a few minutes, come back, sit back down in the office, pretend like they were doing something to look busy.
At my first job, they would always sit in the office and pretend to be doing computer work, but the whole time they're just on their phone.
Yeah,
watching
because once you
videos.
become manager, you realize there's not much computer work for you to have to do, especially in that industry.
There's not. The thing that took me the longest was when I was doing scheduling.
Yeah.
But that's because we had a lot of minors that had conflicting schedules, and it was really
Yeah,
hard to
and-
work around that.
Or entering inventory. But I mean, those are certain days of the week, not every single day.
Yeah.
It's a food place, not a computer place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
And-
why I never understood how long our boss was in the food industry, taking so long on the computer, because I didn't understand it. And half the time, she was on her phone. She wasn't actually even looking at the computer.
Most of the time. And a lot of once I became a manager, I realized that a lot of the daily stuff that needs to be completed can and should be delegated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be filling out the red book every day.
Mm-mm.
Other people can split that up. The
Yeah.
cash person can do the lobby, and the line person can do line, and then somebody that's doing the pre-closing can do back. Like, it doesn't need to be me every day, 3 times a day.
Yep. You
And
are
prep.
not wrong.
Yeah, and prep can be delegated, and and
that's
prep
fine.
can be delegated. Like, everything that our manager made it seem like she had to do could have and should have been delegated out.
Yep.
And it's just like, when she's gone for so long, I remember being so confused as to like why she was gone for so long doing these things all the time. Like, why is it
She
taking
wouldn't
you
be
so
doing
long
them.
to do counts? Like, why
It
is it
doesn't.
taking you from open to close to count? And then she started entering the inventory after closing. All day
Still
she was
talking
counting.
about-
Yeah, we.
We're still talking.
So we should
That's what happens when you have a really bad boss.
Still just
Yeah.
can't cannot talk about
It
anything
just
else because
pisses
it's
you
like
off
it's
so
just
much and it feels good.
She's
getting
traumatized.
Everything goes bad. It does. I am traumatized.
Yeah, but we should
All you can
rename
do.
this episode.
Yeah, bad management.
bad management.
We got a little off topic. Sorry about that.
No, it's-
I mean,
I mean-
that is part of, the disservice, okay, is the bad management.
They're doing a disservice to their employees,
To
which
their-
is then doing a disservice to the customers, which then makes the
Exactly.
customers mean to us.
Exactly.
Shit all over us.
Yeah.
Yep.
because it just comes right back around.
But
it's actually it's not a
shit
circle.
trickles downhill.
It's like a bee.
No, it's not a circle. It's almost like a little, like a C
Yeah.
that goes into like it goes. It's like a C that goes like this.
Well, it goes from manager,
Manager,
employee,
customer,
back to the employee.
back
So it's like a
this.
little bee.
Yeah, it's like a whoop.
But, I mean, shit does trickle downhill. So there are GMs who have shitty DMs, and they're catching it too. So therefore, you guys are catching it.
And that goes into the even higher management that are on them about certain things.
And
Like,
which-
everybody's stressed about something, but it's not my fault. You're stressed.
Yeah. And we're just trying to make a paycheck.
Literally,
We're
I'm here to
That's
make
why
money.
you leave it at the door.
I'm here to
Yep.
make money.
We're just trying to make
You
a
don't- you
paycheck
don't-
to
you
support
try-
our family.
well, you can try your best, your damnedest. Some people don't, though. To not mix your personal emotions and feelings with your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not an easy thing to do.
It's
No.
not.
It's really, really not an easy thing to do. But if you can try, and not, cross those two sections together, keep them parallel, keep your shit on this side. When you go home or when you're in your car by yourself, you get your frustrations out. You go back into your workplace, you're fine. You don't
But-
take it out on your team. You don't take it out on your
Exactly.
whatever your
You
customers,
don't.
whatever. You don't take it out on them, because if you take it on your customers, you take it on your team. If the shit doesn't get back onto your T-shirt, it's gonna get on somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Then it spreads to your store. It spreads to your customers. It spreads to your team. It spreads to your, maybe even back to you. Like I said, to you, then that goes to your house. That follows you home.
It
Even
goes
if
home.
you're-
That's what I was waiting to say. Is
Yeah.
It follows you home.
It can go home with you.
Even if you're not actively trying to not, if you're not actively trying to not bring that stuff with you to the workplace, it's gonna seep out. You need to actively be like, I need to.
You need to be
leave this
aware.
out of
You
it.
need
Yeah.
to figure out
Which is
some
something that
some
our
form of
boss
outlet.
couldn't do.
Mm-mm.
She couldn't, and every time she came in, it was like mood just went like every single time. And then the times that she was gone for like 3-4 hours, whatever, we complained about it, but that was the best time we had in that store is when she wasn't there because things got done.
Everybody started talking shit too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we all started
We
talking
could- we
about
could
her.
all get our
We
shit out.
bonded.
Get our shit out.
It was always like, God, is she fucking back yet?
Yeah, we,
No.
But then when she walks through the door, you're like,
Everybody just goes.
we would be like laughing and joking and having a good time, and our times would be good, and everybody's getting their pre-closing done, and she would come
And
in
breaks
and
would
it
be
would
getting
just,
done.
Yeah, and I was
She would get
great.
mad if people got breaks.
Yeah, I was great at making
Imagine-
sure everybody ran their breaks because I would put myself in their position
mm-hmm.
while they were
So
gone.
you were a floater pretty
Mhm.
much, yeah.
Because then she
During the
couldn't
break
get her
time.
break when she got back.
As if she didn't take like 4 already.
That was like the most bullshit thing. She would be gone for like 2 hours.
and then come back and go on
come
break.
back
And
and,
take a break.
give herself a break.
And
And
it
we're
goes-
like, that was your break.
Jesus Christ.
And then,
I had to
like-
fucking smack the
Sorry.
fucking thing.
So at first, when I became a
It's
manager,
extreme.
I would wait for her to come back so I can start sending people on breaks because she was supposed to be the floater and she was just gone. And so when she would come back, she's like, "Okay, I'm going on break," and I'm like,
Hello?
So after like a week of that, I just started sending people while she was gone
Mm-hmm.
and got them out of the way. And then most of the time, I would go without a break, trying to make sure everybody else got a break.
I remember. Sorry, I remember when COVID hit. Actually, right before COVID hit too. This was a different shift lead, the one who, you know. Anyways, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
Oh, I was like,
I had to do this.
but yeah, that's what I was.
Where she would literally like she was like one of the main people who were there.
Mm-hmm.
Either you were busy or GM was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
She would like completely just cut off everybody's breaks. She wouldn't let anybody go on a break because like we
I don't know
were
how she
we were
became
like a
manager.
little bit busy, but we weren't like slammed. Then we would get slammed. And she'd be like, okay, yeah, nobody's going to get your 10 right now. I was like, okay, fine. We're busy. Whatever. We'd stop being busy. No, still nobody would go on break. She would go on break first.
I would always do mine last, and if I didn't get one, I didn't get one.
I'm glad I didn't have to work much with her.
There was a lot of days where I didn't get a break.
Yeah,
Not when I was there.
It was after.
They stopped doing 10s when COVID hit. They completely got rid of them entirely.
Why'd they even have those anyway?
Because they were going off of California laws because the company was based in California, I think, and they require 10s.
So
Yeah,
it
but
was 10,
okay, I
30,
was there for 3 years before they started doing 10s.
I don't know then.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's what I was
Honestly,
told.
it was kind of like... So when I worked at the other store I was at, and we didn't have 10-minute breaks. We had just the 30s. And then when I came here and like worked at that store, I was like, why the hell are we getting a 10?
Exactly.
Like,
You have
10
no time.
minutes is
You don't have
nothing.
time. You have time if you time it right. You start your break time. You can go toast a bagel, put the cream cheese and toppings on it, sit down, eat it, and then go back clock in.
Do you
That's
know
all the
that-
time you
I
have.
just went and sat down. I didn't do anything. I just was like...
You know that company's policy, though, is that you are to wait in line with the customers to order?
No,
We
nobody
never
ever told
did
me
that.
that shit.
Yeah, that's their policy.
That's their policy.
Yeah.
Same thing with the sandwich shop that I worked
I
at.
would make my own fucking bagel.
You
I'm
are
not gonna
not
wait for
supposed
you.
to. Yeah, you're
Nah,
not
fuck
supposed
that.
to.
I
I
don't have
had
time.
everybody make their own food. Even
No.
the people that didn't know line, the first time that they tried to order something, I'm like, what do you want? You can come over here and make it. I'll show you what to do.
And then our boss eventually did a thing where it was like, we weren't allowed to make our own food for a bit. We
Well,
had to wait.
technically, you weren't supposed to.
Well,
so.
we were having bad numbers with inventory, and she thought it was because people were making their own food and putting whatever they wanted on it. But people ring in exactly what they got.
Not me.
Most people ring in exactly what they got.
I
A lot of-
actually never rung it in.
No, it's because I made my fucking food.
A lot of them were very honest with it.
Yeah, but usually when you have bad inventory like that, you do have a thief. So
It was her.
Yeah.
She was the reason we had bad inventory. We were short on...
She would give it to her kid all the time.
Oh, yeah, she
Who
would
are
feed
you
her
talking
kid.
to?
I heard
Nobody.
myself over there.
No, you
I
From
can't
like a
hear you.
mile away.
She always gave it to like her kid or
But
like
that's
other family.
even that's a little bit different.
All the way the fuck over there.
But even that's a little bit different. If you're talking 5 bagels a week, that's nothing. But if your inventory is off, you have a thief.
No, we didn't have a thief. She was just didn't know what she was doing. Didn't know how to count, first of all.
Yeah.
Didn't understand that the things she did affected the store. So when we switched over to the other coffee brand that we were carrying, they started making us keep the cold espresso for cold drink, or like keep extra shots of espresso for cold drinks. You know, you can brew 2 at a time, but the large ones had 3. So a lot of times you had an extra shot. They wanted us to keep that. And they would count that in the inventory. They expected us to keep it and use it for the cold drinks. And she never did. She just dumped it out. Or she would put one on one half and let it brew directly into the drain. And then she said that the reason we were short on espresso was because I made drinks with espresso every day, but I rang my drinks in every day. So
Yeah,
I'm
and like
that
I
is
said,
not why we're short.
you making 5 drinks in a week is not breaking the bank.
It's her every single time we have a large or a small doing that and not saving the espresso and then being like, why are we short on espresso? And for a long time I didn't know she was doing that, but I was over on barista and she came over to help out and I watched her do that and I'm like, Bria, what are you doing? You're supposed to save the espresso. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say her name.
Isn't
But
that
I'm like, you're
sad?
supposed to save the espresso.
Isn't that sad? You have to tell your own boss not to do that. Like,
There
what
was
the
so many
hell?
times I corrected her and I'm like, you're not supposed to do it this way. And she was like, why? And I would show her the book and I'm like, because they told us that.
She even grabbed food off the line with her bare hands, not wearing
Oh,
gloves. And
I
I was
hated
like,
that.
are you kidding me? You're the fucking boss?
Somebody came in one time and complained that they found a hair in their locks and their salmon. I don't
We
know.
all
I don't
know
know
who it was.
the name
No,
of the
you can
sandwich.
no.
Yeah,
that's,
you can
that,
say locks.
Lock,
Okay.
locks is like a
Okay, so
that's a thing.
they found a hair in their locks. She had her hair like half in a bun like this, and the rest of it was like because her hair was like half in a bun like this, and the rest was hanging down because she had been like moving and didn't fix her hair. And the lady was like complaining, and she was like, I don't know whose hair that could be. And I'm just looking at her, and I'm like,
And it's this
She
big
did-
long hair.
She didn't wear
I'm like-
a hairnet, nor did she wear a hat.
yeah, she never wore
and
her
then
hat.
she also like didn't care where she was like.
But she told
looking
you
at her
that you need a hairnet for your beard.
hairnet. Yeah.
Okay, so this is where it sucks
Even though I
me
never
being
worked
here.
online.
The GMs did not have to wear a hairnet or a hat.
No, yeah, neither
they
did
were, according to
yeah.
EcoSure, if they were online, yes, they did.
But according to our standards,
Because the GM wasn't supposed to be online because they were supposed to
Exactly.
have somebody else, but she was always online.
Yep.
and they had just started enforcing the beard nets.
I never had to wear one, luckily.
Yeah. So,
But-
but she enforced some rules, but not others.
According to EcoSure, if you're online, you need a hat.
Yeah.
Same thing
Or
with
hairnet.
the other place that I worked at. Managers didn't need to wear hats, but if you stepped foot on that line, you put your hat on.
Yeah. Technically,
They always had
GMs were
extras.
not supposed to be on the line.
Because
so
it's not
that's-
it's not like just because you're ranking in the company means your hair is not gonna fall into the food.
No.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because they're
Like-
not supposed to be in position.
No, yeah, no.
like
I'm
that.
saying like in general.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of loved being a baker, because in the back nobody can see you, so I always had my hat off.
When I was
hated-
when I was a manager at
hated
the other
wearing a
place,
hat.
Yeah.
their managers, shift leads, assistants, whoever, they weren't supposed to have hats on because they weren't supposed to be in position. They were supposed to be floating and helping out and not be online at all. If they're supposed to step online, they need to go get their hats.
Yeah.
And we always had extras in the office just in case EcoSure came in.
Yeah. The pizza place, we just all wore hats. It didn't matter if you were going to be making food or not. You just wore a hat.
That's the uniform.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So we totally got off topic.
No, that's all right. We're good. We're done now.
It keeps happening. Is it over?
Yeah,
Oh, dang.
we've hit the threshold.
All right.
Because if not, we're gonna have like a 5-hour long episode about one person.
I mean,
We
we could do it.
So the moral of the story is don't be a dickhead manager because this is what your employees say about you.
And don't be a dickhead
Yeah.
customer because
This is what the employees say
Say
about
about
That's
you.
what the employees say about you.
Know your place.
Just
That'll-
be
that'll
nice.
ne-
just
that'll
be
never
nice. Just
happen.
don't be a dick. Like, I don't understand what's so hard about
'Cause,
it.
like,
Don't
there's-
ask people
there-
to do something you wouldn't do yourself and just be nice.
Be
That's
courteous.
it. Yep.
Because like you don't even have to be nice. Just
Be a decent
be
human being.
be like just talk as if you're talking to
A human.
person.
a person.
like your boss or something.
That is, you don't have to be nice. You can be professional because you don't have to be nice when you're being professional. You're just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, hey, can I get this?
But it's not do this. It's
No,
can
no.
I get
Yeah,
this?
can I get
Give me a
this?
bagel with cream cheese.
Give me this. No, that's a little fuck.
Yeah.
But like
That's
you
what
don't
they
you don't
say.
have to you don't have to say please and thank you. It'd be nice, but like you don't have to. Just be.
A decent,
A decent
human
person.
being.
You don't have to go out of your way to be nice. You don't have to kiss my ass. You don't have to do any of that. Just be like,
Just, you do have to go out of your way to not be a dick, though.
yeah. Try to not be a dick. At least try. If
Most-
you
most people
trying
don't.
is being like, yeah, give me that. That's not trying. You're
That's
not trying.
sad for you.
Yeah. Anyway,
Do you want to do the outro?
I haven't figured out what it even is yet. To be honest.
What'd you do last time?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Bye, guys.
That was your. I know we had a little bit of a hiatus. I'm gonna touch on that real quick. A couple life things happened. Our other co-host Katie. She decided she wanted to dip.
She moved back.
She
to
moved
her
back with her family. It's not that big of a deal, but it was just like it was really sudden. So we had to like shift everything. We had to move her out. We had to take her stuff. Again, not a big deal. Then a couple things with like work and scheduling conflicts and stuff like that's why we had like a small like break. It was unexpected. I wish we could have fixed it. Shit happens. Hopefully we're back on track now. Next week, Sunday, we'll have a
Another recording,
Another
yeah.
recording all set up and get ready to go. Thanks for tuning in to your weekly Sunday disservice. This has been pretty fun. Hopefully we can continue every week on Sunday.
On time.
Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, and have a good night, depending on your time zone. But more importantly, have a good life. See you guys later.